Split champions!
3 rookies prove themselves worthy of the top 4 in the EU LCS. A double kill from Perch! This guy is a madman! He can do it! Oh, Memento! You beautiful man! Guess the Quadra! Gonna be a Kai'Sa for Kobe!
It's time to find out who will rise. This is the EU LCS. Schalke but they find themselves in their first final ever. But they are up against the European Titans of Fnatic, the 6-time EU LCS and reigning champions. Ladies and gentlemen, this is the EU LCS Summer Split 2018 final. I am Deficio supporter and I am here with the man, the legend, Ibai.
Hola, ¿qué tal? ¿Qué tal? ¿Cómo estáis? Muchas gracias por venir. Y como ha dicho ella, estamos en las finales de la LCS europea. Vamos a ver a un Fnatic contra Schalke. Muchas gracias. No sé cómo reaccionar, lo siento. Entonces, pues aquí estamos, ¿no?
Oh, fantastic. Ibai, you deserve all the cheers. You are fantastic. This is, of course, the pre-show. In 30 minutes, we will have the opening ceremony. But I would like to thank you guys just from the bottom of my own heart. Quiero agradecer a todos que estáis aquí en el Palacio Vista Alegre y a aquellos que nos estáis viendo en toda España por todo el apoyo. No puedo esperar para ver las finales con vosotros. Muchas gracias.
Estamos aquí, para el que no lo sepa, ellos hacen un programa en el streaming inglés que se llama La Silla Caliente y como invitado tenemos hoy al fantástico, único e increíble Carlos Rodríguez Ocelote. ¿Qué tal? ¿Cómo estás?
So, we have a little thing on the English broadcast in Ready Check called The Hot Seat, which is now La Silla Caliente, in which we will fire some quick questions at Ocelot. Are you ready, Carlos? All right, so
muchas gracias.
So first up, Carlos, what do you want to say to the people here at the Palacio Vista Alegre?
I'll do it in Spanish, if that's okay.
Perfect.
No, se supone que esto es para acabar, pero bueno, voy a empezar así. Está claro que para mí sois la mejor fanbase del mundo, sois los mejores personas del mundo en cuanto a eventos se refiere. Gritáis un montón, lo pasáis de puta madre. Siendo fans de Schalke, de Fnatic, de Origen, de G2, da igual, sois los amos y os queremos mucho.
Bueno, para el que no lo sepa, esto en teoría son 3 preguntas picantes, ¿no? Es la silla caliente que ellos ya hacen en el streaming inglés. Y yo, Celote, la primera pregunta que te quería hacer era, ¿el dinero da la felicidad?
Sí, sí.
Pero tú, Ocelote, ¿tú tienes días tristes?
Tengo minutos tristes, luego se me pasa rápido.
So, just for people at home, these are supposed to be spicy questions. Ibai asked Ocelot if money makes him happy, and he said, well, not really.
No, I said
yes, you said
it
yes.
does, actually.
Oh, he said yes, excuse me.
I have
and then he followed up with, Ocelot, are you ever sad? And he said, no, I have some sad minutes, but I never stay sad for long. Wonderful. So, Ocelot, imagine, it is the world final. There is one European team left in the World Championship. They're playing the final. They are about to kill the Nexus and win the World Championship, but it's Fnatic. Will you cheer for them?
No, I can't. I'm sorry, I can't. This is like if you ask a Real Madrid. I mean, Real Madrid director whether he will cheer for Barcelona playing the grand finals in Champions League. It's not going to happen.
I can respect that. Ibai, do you have another question?
Hablando del Real Madrid, ¿algún día el Real Madrid comprará G2?
No necesitamos su aprobación, ya que esto va a crecer igualmente. Y yo creo que la empresa ya tiene suficiente valor como para que no se justifique que se gasten. Pues imagínate los fans del Madrid, ¿no? Un tío de 40 años que ve fútbol desde siempre y dice, se han gastado 100 millones en videojuegos cuando se pueden comprar Mbappé. No lo creo que ocurra, así que es poco probable, no creo que ocurra.
I'm not exactly sure it was about football and Mbappé and all that.
Mbappé, just keep that in mind. Mbappé.
All right. So then, finally, who is going to win the EU LCS final today? Schalke or Fnatic?
My brain says Fnatic 3-0, but you're going too fast, people. You're going too fast. But my heart says it's going to be a 3-0 for Schalke.
Ooh. Thank you so much, Carlos. Thank you for being here and for
You're
talking
the best,
to
people.
the fans.
I love you so much.
And for now, as we count down towards the final, it is time to honor one of the biggest stars in the EU LCS. Ladies and gentlemen, this is your EU LCS Summer Split MVP.
Finding the solo kill in the mid lane. This is the player we wanted to see. Get to the top. Onto Memento, the flash forward. It's enough. And he gets away with the double kill. Gotta be better than good if I'ma hit the great. Blood, sweat, tears, leave it all. Betsy falls in the mid lane as well. Caps with the 1v1 on Akali. Rise up, then I roll my eyes up. Focused on the top floor. Only trying to size up a rise up.
Look at that damage! Caps destroys Hylissang.
They say it buzz pipes, never letting it down. Holds on me, you. Whoa! What? Taking everything. Keep pushing
Madrid! I present to you your 2018 Summer Split Most Valuable Player! Caps, when that video started, I could see the emotion on your face. What does it mean to you to be the most valuable player in the EU LCS?
It means everything. I've always wanted to earn this award, and to finally get it over the likes of Rekkles and all the other legends in EU it's crazy.
Caps, 81% of everybody that voted, journalists, pro players, casters, put you as the #1 player, the MVP. This stadium is roaring for you. How important is that for you as a player?
It's crazy. We have always had a lot of fans with Fnatic, and to see so many Fnatic fans and Caps fans today, it's completely crazy. It's completely crazy.
Madrid MVP. Caps, what would you like to say to this audience ahead of your finals?
So I want to thank all of you. We already qualified for Worlds, so I hope today we can show a performance that you guys can be proud of at Worlds as well. And if you want to see Schalke get clapped, then I want to hear a clap.
I was going to ask one more question, but there's no ways I can follow that. Caps, ladies and gentlemen, Madrid, put your hands together for your 2018 EU LCS Summer MVP. Right now, we're going to carry on with the pre-show as we build up to finals.
Well then, thank you very much, Trevor. We are here at desk. Come on over. I made it, and I'm glad that my analysts made it. I'm here with Christian Nifarsen, Jonas Kold Anderson, and Jacob Yamatocannon Mebdi on the analyst desk. Guys, I have to say, being down there, this is, by the way, a scarf of the EU LCS finals in Madrid. Wonderful. That also will be going to the players, but up here, it must have been crazy as well. The Spanish are so loud.
Oh my God, the stadium, even before we actually went live, we're out here hyping the crowd. They're losing their minds. Then when Caps enters the arena, it was just on a whole new level.
That was crazy.
I hope the people at home can feel it as well, because this has to be the craziest audience I've ever been to. It's so loud and so wild.
It was very, very cool. Also, eBay getting cheers, Spanish community doing a lot of work here. Fantastic. But now, let's start by getting into the action and recapping yesterday, where we saw Yamato and Vitality secure third place in this loud Palacio Vista Alegre, taking a big step towards Worlds as well. Yamato, you were very emotional right after the moment. How do you look back on everything now?
I feel, just thinking about it, I'm so emotionally exhausted, so I can't even process it anymore, because it was such a redemption story for us, because the last time we faced Splice in a big arena and we lost that third place decider, and this time around we took it home in a beautiful fashion.
And we need to highlight the guy on the screen here, Jisuke. He had an outstanding performance. And I think we saw a new Jisuke, maybe a little bit of spring split Jisuke back on carries, especially on the LeBlanc. I think he had fantastic performance.
Yeah, I think you talked to him and we talked to him. He was probably very happy that he could kind of shake off thing that had been following him since last playoffs. He showed up.
For sure, like he was definitely not happy with his performance against Niski, and he had the point of view stream, a lot of things going on for him. So this was like a phoenix rising from the ashes and flopping his wing proudly as he did on stage. It was like he cried and I cried, because I knew how much it meant for him. It was
I have
very
a question
powerful.
for you. Last time I saw you cry, it was back in 2016 when you made Worlds.
I knew I made Worlds there too, man.
Okay.
Fnac's gonna win.
Okay. Well, just for the people who might not be completely clued in, with Vitality winning, this means that Schalke have to beat Fnatic today if they want to go to Worlds on first seed. They are unable to get there through championship points, so they would be playing the regional qualifiers if they lose today. And I think, Yamato, your players were pretty secure that Fnatic was going to win, but it's dangerous, man. You don't know.
Who knows? It's the same like Thanos, very strong, but there's one scenario where he loses, so.
Maybe this
Same
is
thing.
the
You're spoiling the movies for me, man.
Come on, if you haven't seen it by now, good luck, you know.
If anything, Yamato will be a very happy man if Fnatic win today. That means both Fnatic and Vitality are in Worlds. There is another battle that is extremely important throughout the split we've been battling for. The superior analyst in our predictions. I am the people's champion. I rose up from the ashes to fight the color casters. I got the Vitality prediction right, and I am voting for Schalke today because I want to take down Deficio.
And you know what? I believe you can do it, Sjokz. I've got faith right here, but if you just get it right, you tie him. You have to get the actual series score right as well, and then you overtake him.
We'll
To
see.
me, it's way more important that yesterday Deficio was wrong, I was right, you were right. That means way more to me.
I mean, I think even if he still wins, we can go back to that, and that's very important. Well, in any case, let's move on to the real reason why we were all here, the EU LCS Summer Final tonight between Fnatic and Schalke 04. Let's take a look 16 minutes away from the opening ceremony. And I want to start by talking about Schalke and what a great achievement it is for them to get here. They're looking to crown their breakout split by winning the EU LCS. Now, of course, they had their first split back in summer 2016. They eventually got relegated to Challenger. They spent all 2017 in Challenger, but eventually in 2018 came back to the EU LCS with a plan.
Exactly. They came in with this roster that so many fans and analysts thought would actually be battling for the top of the EU LCS, but honestly, they disappointed. They didn't live up to those same expectations. But coming into summer, that's when they brought in the veteran shot caller Amazing to turn it all around.
And I still remember when Schalke came into the league. For me, as a guy who grew up playing football, I thought it was so cool that they were actually willing to invest into esports and into EU LCS. And they didn't give up, and I think that is really what impressed me, and I'm so glad they're here in the final.
I think the main thing is that they really applied football principles. In football, it's not that things go fast and you have one season and you replace your players. That doesn't exist in football. They had this ups and downs, and now they're up here because they really, really invested into this idea of investing into players and into structure, and it worked out great for them.
Absolutely, this could be their crowning achievement. And again, wonderful story. They did knock out Vitality, unfortunately for you guys, in the semifinals, but they are a wonderful finalist. And again, to repeat, they have to win here today if they want to lift that trophy, which you want to do no matter what. And if you want to go to Worlds as Europe's first seed.
You absolutely do. And I think the most impressive thing from Schalke in those semifinals was that they actually adapted and matched the fast-paced early game style from Vitality, because we thought they were going to be stalling out till late, but they proved everyone wrong and now come in as a very strong challenger for Fnatic.
Yeah, Yamato, what surprised us very much as analysts is the fact that they were able to switch up their style and prepare so much for your specific style. Is that something that you think is a great achievement by them and will help them today?
I think they made some great adaptations. I think the pulling in the Skarner was great. I think a lot of the jungle picks they prepared for Jizuke was something that impressed me the most. They had a very deep champion pool, and they prepared for our roaming style that we prepared to play into them. And I think that was the biggest swing for them, Nukeduck's champion pool. And at the same time, we played very over-eager, and they were very good at punishing our mistakes, and I think that's what made them take it home.
I mean, Kold, I think this is one of the reasons why, even though Fnatic is definitely the favorite, we're looking at this match as one in which Schalke has definite chances that they could look at to win.
I mean, we look at the improvement from the quarterfinal to the semifinal. If they can keep improving until the final today and maybe raise the level even higher, I think they have a chance. But they, in my opinion, they need to get to that higher level if they want to challenge Fnatic.
They need to put it all on the line today, and one very special player on the Rift, Amazing, makes his third EU LCS final appearance today as he looks for a standout achievement in what has been an eventful career.
High stays on the fountain, the quadra kill once again, and Team Solo Mid are the 2015 Spring Split champions.
In Europe, as a semi-finalist of the World Championship, as Origin win 3-1.
Double kill now for Amazing. This is just rampage. The Widians will take it.
I declined insane amount of offers from 2016 just to join Origin again. But I trust Origin, they screw up. Then I trust Fnatic. They put my career in the hands of Nico the Pico. This guy decided basically that I was not going to play anymore.
Big news! The jungle, they have made a change. Amazing X is still on the roster, but they have decided to swap in Broxah from Challenger.
I didn't feel human anymore because every emotion I felt, was basically just negated by the fact that everything went wrong.
The new Mysterious Monkeys lineup stepping up on stage with Amazing and Kiki as well. They hope to make a strong impression.
This is it for the Mysterious Monkeys as they're on the verge of losing their spots in the European LCS. NIP are gonna be the victors today. The Mysterious Monkeys bow out.
Hello everybody, I'm Trevor Quickshiner, joined at the cast stage for the first time by Maurice Amazing Stuckenschneider. Dude, welcome to the desk.
Thank you, I'm pretty nervous though. When I was a caster and I saw people play, I was jealous of them being on stage, being in front of a crowd. I played 8 to 10 hours of solo queue every day. I played so much just to stay on my level, I just know that I don't want to be on the other side anymore, where I watch people play, I want to be the one playing.
The man joining Schalke 04 as their newest jungler has reached the highest of highs and the lowest of lows. Maurice Amazing Stuckenschneider. He's now returning to the LCS to reclaim some of that former glory.
I'm really proud of my team, every one of them has had their issues. No one really feels that they have to do anything more than just being a team player. And I think Schalke is the right team for me right now.
He dug down, but Amazing's on the Nexus. 8-1 in their last 9 games, taking their spot, tied with G2.
For the first time ever, Schalke 04 are in the finals.
Winning finals would mean everything to me. It confirms the amount of work I've put in. It's the third time I'm gonna be in the USCS finals, and I actually want to have that sense of pride coming in and actually win for once, where I can point at Mithy and Sven and just tell them I won you in the day before you. Being in front of a crowd, especially in the finals, is just such a happy feeling. Everyone's cheering for you or the enemy team, but in the end, it doesn't matter. Everyone enjoys League of Legends, and I think that's what it's about.
Wow, absolutely fantastic. We've talked about the Amazing story a bit already, but the fact that he finds himself, after so many ups and downs, back in a final is one of the most inspirational and aspirational stories of a pro player that I have ever heard.
I love the fact that he speaks about the grind, because back in spring when we were on the Analyst with him, I actually talked with him about what is it that makes it as a player. When do you feel like it's rewarding to play day in and day out? It's when you go on the stage and you have a crowd that cheers for you. It still gives me a little bit of emotional when I went there. You know, it is really what makes it and breaks it for a player in my opinion.
Yeah, for sure. Like, I've publicly said that I don't like him, but I would be damned if I'd said that I don't respect him. He's been around the block for a long time where people didn't believe in him. He crawled himself back up to finals time and time again. He's had a longevity that not a lot of players say they have, and I think anyone on the scene can respect him.
After you have done what Amazing has done so far, you have to respect the man and you have to look at him today on stage. But it'll be an incredibly tough challenge for Schalke and for Amazing because they face off against a team that has dominated the EU LCS in 2018, Fnatic. And 2018 was really the new era of Fnatic. In 2015, we actually had the final right here where they won. They were very successful that whole year. But after that, it was all G2. So far in 2018, they have reigned supreme.
Exactly. Fnatic returned in spring, and once they sort of figured out their identity of using their two superstars in Caps and Rekkles as a combined carry threat, they were basically unbeatable in spring.
I mean, and while in spring it was the Rekkles show, he was the superior ADC in the region. I think in summer we have to point towards Caps. He has been so outstanding this split, and I think for once Fnatic actually found a way to enable him in the game and play around him.
This was in Copenhagen when they lifted the trophy. They were back, and they weren't going to stop there. However, when it came to summer, it was very interesting. There was this new meta. Rekkles decided to bench himself, and all of a sudden, Fnatic had to make do with Bwipo, and then in the end with a 6-man roster.
Yeah, and I think that Caps was the big story because he came out of MSI as the best mid laner at that international tournament with some big names, proved himself, really came back in EU, continued to dominate out of the mid lane. And it was just all around a fantastic performance.
It was crazy. And then in summer, as said, Rekkles off the Rift. And Yamato, what do you think of the fact that they played without Rekkles for a long time and they decided to go all in on Caps?
I think in this case, you know, in the past, Fnatic was so one-dimensional. It was Rekkles carrying and Caps kind of fending for his own. I think the biggest revolution for me was when they realized that they can play through mid lane. And I think ever since, Caps has been enabled to play and also at the same time through mid lane support the player that is Rekkles down bottom.
And now it makes it incredibly difficult for anyone going up against Fnatic because Rekkles started in the semifinals and his AD carries are also back in the meta. So they have returned to a 2-threat team, but I would say it's probably going to be Caps first, Rekkles second.
I mean, it speaks for itself when 81% of pros and analysts and media alike vote for Caps to be the MVP. This man has done it all. He makes plays, he sets them up himself on picks like the Zoe. He plays all these crazy different champions. It feels like 2015 Faker where he can walk in anything and still crush everyone else.
2015 Faker, eh?
That's some big words, but I think it's fair to do the comparison because right now Caps, he just literally picks whatever the hell he wants. And somehow it works. We saw him on the Wukong, we saw him on the Vayne in the semi-final, and I think that's the scary part for me.
I think at the same time, you have to give a lot of credit around the players that are around Caps. I think the biggest revolution for me, like Caps was always an amazing player. 1v1, he was respected by every single mid laner. That was never anything new. But right now, Hylissang and Broxah, the way they play around him is something that is unheard of.
And arguably, those are also all the players we're looking at to perform today and to get that second title for Fnatic. Now, a big part of Fnatic's success has been their team director, YoungBuck. Let's see what he has to say before today's final.
Thank you very much. I'm joined here by Fnatic's team director, YoungBuck. First of all, congratulations on making another final. Before we talk about the final, I want to talk about you just a little bit. You're the only undefeated coach and now team director when it comes to EU LCS finals. What is it about your leadership style and the impact that you bring to the team that allows you to win so many titles?
I think first and foremost, I've always had a really good team atmosphere with the players, both in G2 and in Fnatic. There's a lot of laughter and playing around, which I think is really good for long term.
Well, that's definitely showing true. Obviously, the move to Fnatic. There were some questions. Will it work? Will it be successful? You are. Now you have to defend the title. How is it different defending a Fnatic title versus winning it in spring?
Well, I think the biggest difference is that you don't want to lose something. And you know, I've always been building towards making history for myself and my teams. But right now, I feel like it's more about defending that honor instead of actually trying to gain more.
I really like that, making history. I think as a coach, when you eventually step back, there's definitely some history to be made in your own name. You've joined an organization with a huge amount of history. Could they win the 7th title today? I know your answer is going to be yes. How do you have to stop Schalke to make it number 7?
I think the most important thing is that we control the early game. They are a very slow-paced team, which we really love to play against. So if things don't go too crazy and we just play very slow, then we'll be really happy.
Well, I'm very happy to hear that. Thank you so much for the insight. Congratulations for making final, and I hope it's a good series. Back to you at the desk.
Wonderful there from YoungBuck, saying that it is really hard to defend that title. He also says we'll be happy if we play slow. That's not something I've heard that often from Fnatic. What do you guys
They're
think?
happy playing against the teams that go slow because they like to go hard and heavy.
That's
early
what I
on.
was going to say. That's what they always do. And some people that always do that are in the mid lane. And we want to look at some key matchups, and that's the one I want to look at. We started talking about Caps before, but now he is up versus Nukeduck. And I think when you talk about Caps and everything he's achieved and how good he's been, we also need to give credit to Nukeduck. This is a guy that has been around forever and is back at the top.
Exactly. I think his experience and his versatility, his ability to play almost anything in the mid lane is going to be so key for him in this match. This is not a guy that'll be phased by a Vayne mid or a Wukong mid by Caps. He's prepared and he's ready to take him on.
And he was always known for his intelligence in-game and his ability to play side lanes better than most mid laners. And I think that will be really crucial in today's match.
I think having worked with Nukeduck for so many years, I know him very well as a player. The main thing for Nukeduck is if he's ahead and he's playing a champion that he can take control over the game, he can shot call for everyone. That is the Lemon Dogs Nukeduck, and that is also the Schalke Nukeduck we're seeing this split around.
And that is where a lot is going to come down to today. But the other matchup we need to talk about is in the bottom lane, the AD carries. Upset versus Rekkles. I am incredibly hyped about this matchup. Rekkles is the guy that has so much pedigree, has so much history, has won everything there is to win in Europe. But he's up versus the guy who may very well take over the reins. What do you guys think?
That's the thing. These two players are so evenly matched, but I actually give Upset the advantage in late game team fights. Look, this guy had the highest damage per minute out of any player in any role in the EU LCS regular season. He also had the third highest DPM of all time in the EU LCS just last week. And his aggressive yet calculated style is the way he's able to maximize his DPS, and that'll be the difference maker here today.
I think when it comes to playing Ezreal, Upset, amazing. I think it's crazy that I gave him Ezreal 2 games. I think when you're playing Ezreal and you're playing to his maximum potential, you're gonna put up the numbers that analysts love. But when it comes down to the grind, the late game team fights, we cannot forget the history of Rekkles in games like this.
And no matter what happens with Rekkles, he always shows up in the final. And I think we cannot take it away. It's the first final for Upset as well, so we will see how it goes on the Rift.
Yeah, there will be a lot to do for Schalke. They will have to fight incredibly hard, and a lot is going to have to come from Upset as well. So let me see your keys to victory. The underdogs, honestly, Schalke. How do they lift the trophy today?
Right, I've got my vote on Schalke, and I say that they need to protect Nukeduck early on. Because if you remember the last 2 times these teams faced off, Nukeduck got destroyed by the roams of Broxah and Hylissang. They need to stop that from happening, and then enable Upset in team fights. So you need to draft a Kai'Sa or an Ezreal for him, and then build compositions that can go heavy 5v5 late in the game.
Now we're looking at Fnatic, same thing. How do they keep their title?
I think it's going to be key in the mid lane, and I think counter-picking for Caps is going to be crucial. We see what he can do when he gets on, for example, LeBlanc in a counter matchup. He can really take over a game. And I think YoungBuck touched on it in the interview. You need to control their aggression in the early game. And I think we have seen a Fnatic that has struggled actually to figure out when to take good fights, especially in the early game. They like to be over-eager, and I think a lot of it comes down to Bwipo and Hylissang sometimes taking too many fights when they don't have to, and I think that's going to be crucial.
Well, it is an incredibly momentous occasion here. We have a new finalist, again, in the EU LCS versus the powerhouse of Fnatic. As we are 1 minute away, let's look at the predictions. I'm voting for Schalke. I think they're going to have to fight damn hard, but there is a chance. And you know why I'm voting for.
Hey, you know, they're going 5 games, but I said it's Upset who will be the difference maker late on in these games.
Whoa. I have to go with Fnatic today because I think it's going to be mid lane focused, and if there's something Fnatic has shown in this summer split is that they are exceptional at playing around mid lane.
I think, you know, we can reference the story of David versus Goliath, but that story is fiction. Right now, Schalke is walking on stage, they only have a slingshot. I think Fnatic is going to destroy them.
Yamato says Fnatic is going to destroy Schalke. It is all up to Schalke 04 and Fnatic. Ladies and gentlemen, it is time for the moment we've all been waiting for as we count down towards the EU LCS Summer Final, live from Palacio Vista Alegre.
real talk so many times, it's more like applause. Winning an A in the EU will basically cement me as one of the greatest players in the West.
I can finally show people the monster I really am. This finals is about honor and pride more than anything.
Oh! Upset finds the kill!
Bienvenidos a las finales de la LCS Europea. Aquí en Madrid estamos en Vista Alegre, en un pabellón absolutamente espectacular y tenemos preparado algo increíble para vosotros. Hemos estado trabajando mucho para traer unas auténticas finalazas aquí, como digo, a Madrid. Pero antes de que vosotros conozcáis a los equipos, que el mundo os conozca a vosotros. Bienvenidos a las finales de la LCS Europea. Hola Madrid, ¿qué tal? ¿Cómo estáis? Ya tenemos al primer finalista preparado y es el equipo alemán. Primera final para el Schalke 04. Adelante. Y enfrente el campeón de Europa, Fnatic. Pero nos falta lo más importante y es el trofeo de campeón que lo va a entregar uno de los actuales campeones, YoungBuck. Y ya tenemos a los 10 jugadores preparados y el primero es por parte de Fnatic, el top laner. Bwipo. Enfrente por parte del Schalke 04, Vizicsacsi. En la jungla por parte de Fnatic, Broxah. Y enfrente el alemán, Amazing. En la calle central, el MVP de la LCS Europea, Kold. Y enfrente, segunda final para él, Nukeduck. Como tirador de Fnatic, Rekkles. Y enfrente, Upset. como support de Fnatic, Hylissang. Y enfrente, primera final para el Vander. Como sexto jugador, entrenador de Fnatic, Dylan Falco. Y entrenador del Schalke 04, pero que jefe. Todo preparado, Madrid, para que comience la gran final.
Thank you, Ibai, and hello everyone. I'm Daniel Drakos, and it is my great pleasure to introduce Martin Deficio and Andrew Vedius Day. Gentlemen, Madrid is alive right now. You can feel it in the arena. It's hard to find the words to describe exactly how hyped this crowd is.
It's actually unbelievable how much passion there is in this room. Everyone is so excited, and we're going to have some fantastic League of Legends today.
And we feel it really loud up here. Imagine standing down there as a player. We have some young guys like Upset who's never even made a final. First time, and the entire stadium just cheering for him. Rekkles, he's tried it before, and he's standing next to him. He's loving it.
He's standing there, he's proud, he's trying to figure out which pose to do. Upset, just in awe of the moment, and you have to respect it. Schalke's run this far, just incredible, turning it around in Fnatic. Almost an expected finalist at this point, but that does not discredit the achievements that they have had thus far. Definitely a top-tier team.
Fnatic on track to getting themselves their 7th EU LCS title, whereas Schalke, they're looking to gain redemption after what has been a tumultuous history. They make their first final, and they are so close to finally securing their first EU LCS title.
Everything for this team and for this organization, continuing to invest when things got hard, showing that they could turn it around, that the long-term plans paid off for them as they took down Splice, as they took down Vitality to make it this far, and now a spot at Worlds on the line. Maybe if Vitality had lost yesterday, they could play with a little bit less pressure. But now it's first seed, baby, or it's that gauntlet, the stakes.
It's the title as well for Schalke here. A lot of big names in this lineup, which is why when we saw this roster being built, we said these guys could be one of the top teams in Europe, but it took some time before they got there. They've shown here in playoffs that they can actually adapt to basically everything you're throwing at them. Can Fnatic do something different? Or can Fnatic maybe find other ways to shut them down?
I feel like Fnatic are the kings of different official. We look at Bwipo in the first half of the split, Rekkles coming in and out of the team, always finding new ways. But we're entering our first pick and ban, and a lot of questions are going to be answered right here. What adaptation have these teams put together since their appearances in the semifinals?
And for me, we have to look at the junglers, because for Schalke to find that early game success, for them to be able to challenge what Fnatic have shown in terms of their early game skirmishing, is going to revolve around Amazing and what champions he has available to him. In particular, the Skarner and Trundle were big picks for him in the semifinal.
And you bring up comfort picks, and already we're seeing comfort banned on both sides. Tristana taken away from Rekkles. The Poppy signature pick of Vizicsacsi, the Alistar, one of Vander's best picks as well. Fnatic is not letting Schalke go easy into this first draft.
And that's a bit of a special ban here. Vizicsacsi has shown us some very good Rumble games, despite mainly being a tank player. but I think Fnatic are respecting what kind of draft Schalke can pull out for more early game power, because that's kind of where we look at Schalke saying they are a slow team. They might fall behind against Fnatic, and with the Rumble ban, I think Fnatic say, yeah, you know what? If you are trying to match us in the early game, we're gonna make it hard for you.
There's only a couple seconds left. With the Urgot ban, this means that Akali is left up and available for Caps.
And Skarner as well.
But we know this guy's not afraid to just lock it in. He is
now,
the playmaker of Fnatic.
You have to go Skarner then on the side of Schalke and take that trade when you're giving away Akali, the best mid laner right now, to the MVP of the EULCS. No surprise with Skarner. Braum as well is the other comfort pick for Vander now that Alistar is banned.
And of course, Skarner, the pick we didn't expect to see from Amazing until he unleashed it in the semifinals, but Fnatic are confident, immediately locking in their next 2 picks. Shen most likely headed to the bot lane alongside with that Kai'Sa.
And this Kai'Sa is so good here, because Fnatic needs to make sure Upset does not get it. That is his late game win condition against him. It's not a Sivir, it is a Kai'Sa instead. I think Rekkles can have a lot more impact in this game.
But Schalke drafting towards a pretty strong 2v2 down in the bottom lane. Often we have seen Shen come in as an answer to things like the Braum to make that laning phase a little bit easier. But the fact that you have an early playmaker in the form of Skarner and good setup with the Varus means that Schalke do have a strong lane that they can look to play around.
Very, very true. Meanwhile, if you want to try and shut down the Akali, you got to deal with the Shen ult as well, which is going to make it extremely difficult for Schalke. But they knew that Akali would get first pick. They were ready to take the trade.
And this is when we go back into the Nukeduck champion Ocean. This man has played so many unique champions throughout the split. You have to think that he has something prepared for Caps' Akali.
Yeah, we saw Splice do the same, and they picked a Veigar for Niski in the mid lane. It didn't really work for them. It didn't actually shut down the Akali enough. Let's see if Nukeduck has found something different. Now the LeBlanc ban here, I think that's smart on the side of Fnatic. Will be one of the most contested mid laners in this series. What else? Another mid lane ban coming in? Yeah, it's the Zilean.
Taken away, not a pick we've seen too much here, but NA obviously loving it. Shoes off there on the stage. Upset getting comfortable, looking to feel confident there. Vizicsacsi going to get that Cho'gath. So far, a very standard Schalke draft. Varus really the only pick that feels a little different.
But look at the amount of pick potential they have. You know, Braum, Varus as a dual lane already bringing a ton of utility. Skarner ulti into a Cho'gath ulti, you're not surviving that. One single member is gonna get singled out in every fight. And right now, that's probably the Akali.
And they're saving that counter pick for Nukeduck. They want to give him the best matchup possible. Fnatic now locking themselves in the Trundle. They just need a little bit of top lane presence. They could go for the Maokai. They're lacking a little bit of engage right now on the side of Fnatic.
Ornn is always a great choice against things like Varus, because you can use it to really disrupt him from just standing there and auto-attacking. It is also the pick that Bwipo has played a lot. YoungBuck last week said that's the champ for him. Gangplank instead, carry top laner coming in from Fnatic.
Mixing it up, a big sign of confidence coming in from Bwipo to take the Gangplank up into Vizicsacsi in the top lane. Interesting to see if he can survive on this pick. It has been a weakness in the past.
I mean, the last time we saw Cho'gath versus Gangplank, we saw a lot of solo kills going in favor of the Cho'gath. That was off the back of our fight. We'll see if Chachi can have the same performance. And now we get the Lissandra from Nukeduck. The lockdown onto the Akali. The potential perma-gank in the middle lane.
Oh, it was all a trap. They wanted to give the Akali to Caps. They have drafted now a composition again that can just nuke down a target. We already mentioned before the Skarner and Cho'gath. Now you're gonna add a Lissandra ulti on top of that. You're gonna need an early QSS if you're Caps, because otherwise you're dying 10 times.
You're paying that tax. You're gonna have to put that 1,300 gold down. The amount of AoE CC present on this Schalke lineup is incredible. A lot of magic damage as well, and we have to see how this is going to unfold, because I see the potential for absolute individual outplays on the side of Fnatic. They've got that Gangplank, they've got the Akali in the mid lane, they've got Kai'Sa in the hands of Rekkles, but Schalke sticking to a tried and true playing together style team.
And this is what we wanted to see in a Game 1 of the European LCS final. Fnatic drafting some strong comforts in the Kai'Sa, a scaling, playmaking AD carry for Rekkles, and Akali, the assassin mid laner for our MVP Caps, going up against the strong preparation from Schalke. We see the Lissandra, we see the Varus. Amazing is on a comfort pick. This is going to be a fantastic game.
And this is also going to be a game where Schalke can show us if they can play a bit more aggressive, a bit faster against Fnatic, because the scaling, that's really, if you look at all the Fnatic champions, the Gangplank, the Kai'Sa, like it's all great in the late game. Schalke is a lot more about early engage, forcing plays, especially before QSS comes in. Can Schalke play active in the early game?
We're going to have to find out. We heard from YoungBuck earlier. We want to play it slow. We want to slow it down. Taking a step away from the aggression we've kind of paired with Fnatic in the past. Well, they are going to need to survive this early game, but it is going to be no easy task. All the engage options coming in from the Schalke lineup. Level 6, we are just about guaranteed a bloodbath. And I'm just ready to see it, gentlemen.
I'm so excited to watch this match unfold. We're jumping into game 1 of the EU LCS finals. Caps versus Nukeduck, Rekkles versus Upset. The crowd is so excited. And I immediately have to jump into this mid lane matchup. Just soaking in the crowd.
Yeah, I was going to say, you kind of have to be a little less immediate because you're going to need Madrid. Give them a chance to get a word in.
Well, let's look at this. No cleanse on Caps. He's still sticking with the Ignite. He wants that kill pressure later on into the game. This means that the moment Nukeduck hits level 6, Schalke have to be looking at this mid lane unless their focus is more geared towards the bottom, where Nukeduck can just push out this mid lane, roam towards the bot, and set up pretty potent tower dives.
He might try. There's a cleanse on Rekkles. There's a Shen protecting. To me, it's scream and kill Caps as many times as possible. The Gangplank is also able to get out of some of that CC, so it's actually a smart pick against things like Skarner as well. So Fnatic feel like they have a lot of tools once they go a bit later in the game. But as you highlighted, Vedius, the level 6 mark, like Lissandra, Skarner, Cho'gath, that's some of the strongest ultis in the game when it comes to killing that one guy.
It's good you bring up the Skarner, a key piece in shutting down the mid lane, and amazing a player who's continued to show us his evolution. This is a guy who struggled a little bit in the quarterfinals, but has been getting better and better as he's been playing in these playoffs.
Yeah, just look at the difference in his performance from quarters to semis. Deficio, we were talking a little bit earlier about how they showed against Vitality that they could be proactive in the early game, and just from his jungle proximity, you could see how much more involved he was, especially in the kills plus assists of 15 as well.
Yeah, and Amazing did a great job of reacting to the aggressive moves from KK, saying, I can fight you here. I know I have a numbers advantage. I actually have maybe up already an early level because of better pathing in the early game. Luckily for Amazing, he might not have to show too many things in terms of fighting the enemy jungler 1v1, because Broxah is not known to be a guy who shuts down the enemy jungler. He's more the guy who plays around his lanes, just like Amazing. So we have a similar jungle style in this one. With the Skarner pick, however, Amazing's level 6 is a lot more impactful when it comes to going for that one lane.
Also want to take this opportunity to look at the Fnatic comp, because when we look at Schalke, it's pretty standard. You know, the pick potential, they have decent engage with the Lissandra, they have Braum set up with follow-up as well. But for Fnatic, they kind of have a little bit of everything. There's no hard engage aside from maybe Trundle walking in with a Shen up. Maybe you can use the Akali too. They do have decent late game, but they also have a solid mid game. It feels to me that this comp is just a little all over the shop this year.
A lot of it is based on winning the side lanes once we get out of laning phase. Akali goes to one side, GP sitting in the other one, and when you then try and catch Caps in the side lane, he gets a Shen ult and a GP ult coming down, and it gets really difficult unless you're sending multiple members and can just burst him fast enough, and I think that's what Schalke are hoping for here. We will most likely see Nukeduck and Vizicsacsi try and go together to kill Caps, but that's later. Broxah's around mid lane for the first gank.
Now the claw is going to come out, but can he use the pillar to interrupt? Not quite. Good timing from Nukeduck. Keeps him alive for now. And gentlemen, Nukeduck just continuing to show us new champions. You wanted to know how deep the ocean goes, Vedius. It just continues to grow. We didn't have room 3 champions ago, boys, but it just keeps on growing.
19 unique champions. I'm expecting even more unique champions as the series progresses. And one of the big questions we had was, who had the deeper champion pool, Nukeduck or Caps? Well, so far, what we know is Nukeduck seems to have an answer for everything in the meta.
Yeah, I like to look at it this way and saying, Nukeduck can play any traditional mid laner. Caps can just play anything. It doesn't have to be a mid laner. He'll just put it there and do something with it. Is that Amazing sneaking in behind Bwipo on the top side? Ooh, Nukeduck is roaming as well. This might be the first kill.
Wave crashing in. Bwipo trying to stay alive as long as he can. He's going to have to interrupt a little bit of CC, but the knockup is there. The heal comes through. He wants to get a kill back, but a nice flash out from Vizicsacsi means it's just the first blood for Schalke.
Very clean dive from Schalke as they get an early kill down onto Bwipo. This used to be an old strat when Gangplank was common in the meta because he struggled against early tower dive. When stopwatch was a thing, we saw it become a lot harder, but Bwipo has no stopwatch, he's only level 4, the chain CC was perfect, Schalke draw first blood.
And again, this is why Amazing can be so key in this matchup here, because he can focus on ganking lanes. He's not scared of Broxah at all, so he sets up nice deep vision on top side, knows, okay, no one is actually around to stop me from going for this tower dive, and while the Gangplank knows he's putting down a ward himself, it does not matter, because he's stuck here all alone. Nukeduck didn't even get to join in time. Great combo from Schalke, and great start.
Beautiful use of the chain CC, and gentlemen, you talked to me about this before we started. You said this is a potential avenue for Schalke to exploit. Bwipo, an incredibly aggressive laner, doesn't always respect the potential for his opponents to take him down.
It's very true, and he also likes to pick more aggressive champions that can be shot down. That's what we just see here. Vizicsacsi is very happy playing tanks. One of the few top laners always celebrating when he gets a tank pick. Let's see what happens bottom side. Amazing, he's active again.
Predator coming through. Hylissang, where's the taunt going to go? It's going to be crucial. Flash out from Rekkles. The chain CC is going to come through. He just needs to proc it, but it's blocked. Not going to get stunned. Still enough to get the kill. Schalke 2-0 early on.
Amazing is being so active in this early game. We talked about how they were able to match Vitality when Amazing gets these comfort picks, Trundle or Skarner. They bait Fnatic into locking in the Akali, and now it is Schalke who are 1,000 gold up in the first game of the final.
And it was YoungBuck before the game saying, Schalke plays slow. We need to just make sure that we can actually control the early game. We don't have to force too many things, and then clearly try and scale for late game with this draft. But Schalke, they're not here to play slow. They're playing very fast.
And Fnatic's bot lane was just so pushed up that this became easy for Amazing to just walk in. They had to burn a couple of summoner spells, but they secured a kill onto Rekkles. And Schalke now sitting in a very healthy early game lead.
Kills, double summoners as well. Rekkles had to try and flash the Q from Vander, but couldn't do it.
And gentlemen, we are now at that point that we talked about when we saw this Lissandra locked in. It is the level 6, but Broxah not concerned about the Lissandra. He's got his eyes on the Cho'gath, going to use the ultimate there, trying to buy a bit of time. Subjugate, is it going to be enough? Vizicsacsi now running for his life. He's so low. Looks like he's going to get cut down. Bwipo, will the kill get donated? One more parlay ought to do it. Bang! One shot, one kill.
This is one thing I love about Broxah. He will always take the easy kills for himself. Oh, no flash top lane? That's where he's heading. It doesn't have to be fancy, but it's effective.
And now 1K gold lead held onto for Schalke.
Oh, he's going to TP back in.
Amazing, hungry for a little bit more, wants to hunt down Bwipo. What's he going to be able to do? Skarner ultimate is available. He's taking his time, he's running under the tower. Maybe he wants to deny. Is there going to be enough tower shots to kill him? This is going to be an awkward moment if he manages to get away with it. Oh! Is he going to get taken down? A beautiful execute from Bwipo. Not the happiest circumstance, but happy not to give up the gold.
He gets the farm, he gets away without giving any kill or gold over, and Bwipo, that was the best case scenario for him and Fnatic.
It is not often we celebrate someone dying in the game, but he did deny a kill there. Sadly for him, he's still losing out on a lot of minions. He has no teleport to get back into lane, so he is behind. Same thing for mid lane, where you have Nukeduck pushing, and we're still waiting for that first Lissandra ulti.
So we can see here that you talked about the lack of flash, Deficio. It means that with the Trundle pillar, there are very few options for Vizicsacsi to escape. The ulti comes down from Broxah as well, seeing that he did hit that level 6. But then Broxah goes back to base. He doesn't help Bwipo push out the lane. Amazing then comes up, and they don't have any summoner spells. No flashes are left available. And then Bwipo stays just out of range so that he's still within tower range, but Chachi can't get it.
I never thought I'd say outplayed, but I outplayed. There you go. Denies his own life to the tower. Well done in the end, and now Schalke, eyes set on a little bit of dragon control, will manage to secure the Scuttle Crab and do have a decent amount of bot side vision so far.
Once again, it's Amazing looking for something. Flash not available, but that ulti is ready. No flash on Rekkles side. Meanwhile, in mid, Caps has actually managed to start pushing now. We know he can use his Shroud to try and stay invisible for as long as possible and wait for backup. But if Nukeduck gets onto him first, he won't be able to do it in time.
Yeah, if our observers could very kindly swap over to the gold, I believe that Nukeduck is sitting on a healthy amount right now and hasn't had an opportunity to go back to base. 1800 in its pockets, and because Caps did recently have a base, he has a little bit more power just because he has those extra items in his inventory. So Nukeduck showing that respect. He doesn't want a base just yet. Maybe he wants to just fully complete the Luden's Echoes, what you imagine he would go for as a first part.
Could also be waiting for the TP to make sure he can get back to lane uncontested. May also save it to roam and make plays elsewhere on the map. Level 6, still the crucial point we talked about. We've yet to see a Frozen Tomb come out from Nukeduck, but now he's on the move. They might be looking for the bottom side.
Yeah, they knew the blue buff was just taken right there, so there's no threat of Broxah being on bottom side. Amazing's on his way, will force Fnatic's dual lane back, but this gives some free time for Upset to just deal damage to the turret here. Schalke, not known for overcommitting in these early game plays, will just take the safe one.
And I love that Schalke drafted a composition that relied on them being active in the early game, and they're executing upon it beautifully. They're sitting on a 1,000 gold lead right now, 20 CS lead for Upset, 10 CS lead for Nukeduck, and things just look good if Schalke can maintain this pressure.
It is important, however, that they do not slow down, because you're 100% correct, Vedius. They need to maintain the pressure they have now. Do not let Akali just freely scale in the mid lane. She's one of the scariest late game assassins to deal with, and it is Caps playing it. They're looking bot lane again. Rekkles flashes up in just a couple of seconds. Here we go.
Here we go. Predator pop for Amazing. Where's the ultimate going to go? Who's Skarner going to focus? They're trying to buy a bit of time. Rekkles trying to find his escape route out. He's using Hylissang as the sacrificial lamb. Can Hylissang make it out as well? It doesn't look like it. Suppression there, and another kill for Upset.
Easy kill picked up for Schalke. They just did the Drake. Now Chachi looking for a 1v1.
They get the knockup. We're going to flash out to safety. Won't connect in the end, so a flash advantage there for Vizicsacsi, but forced back under his tower. And Bwipo still playing with a lot of confidence. Chachi has to be careful here.
Broxah is on the way. Will get spotted right here by the ward. Caps also moving towards topside. Should be communicated by Schalke. Chachi walks away.
Now backing off. Is it going to be enough? Yes, Caps will not continue to pursue. We'll just settle for that Raptor camp in the meantime. But losing a bit of pressure on top side does mean that Schalke have free access to bottom. The Gangplank ulti being used. The TP now coming down. Shen on the way in as well.
Skarner's here.
Amazing wants to do something. Upset flashing backwards. Where is he going? He wants the TP to come in from the rest of the team. Is it going to be enough? It doesn't look like it. What was Upset doing? Wants to escape, but Nukeduck's here now too. Can Schalke turn it? Amazing is running for his life. Fnatic just going to walk away with a single kill.
Looks like he tried to dodge what Hylissang was going to do against him and then get near a ward where Nukeduck could TP too. Sadly for him, nothing really happened and he just ended up flashing for nothing.
Schalke, they end up falling behind as Fnatic now look to be a little proactive. Good use of the TP from Bwipo combined with the Shen of Hylissang allows them to get this collapse on from Schalke. They had no vision in the bot lane, which meant that there was no easy ward for Nukeduck to TP to and respond, and now Chachi could be in some trouble.
And now going in, Caps has the passive ready, but won't pursue any further. That is the flash burn from Vizicsacsi.
And now we're seeing one of the concerns regarding what Schalke can do early game with the draft, but it can be proactive, is they will give openings, and Fnatic are so good at punishing whenever you give them anything. This is just a play with TP advantage from top side. And yeah, he's waiting. He thinks maybe the taunt comes out instantly and he can try and dodge it, or he's simply just misclicking. Like, it is one of the two things.
So this moment where you think, hey, if I outplay this, I look like a genius, but if you predict too soon, doesn't work out, and you look a little bit foolish there in the exchange. But at the end of the day, it's just one kill. Still a small gold advantage for Schalke. Yes, giving up a little bit of the snowballing that they did earlier. And now the biggest concern is the Rift Herald that was taken down by Broxah.
Exactly that. You can see that Broxah is moving up towards the top side.
We'll have the 2v2. Vizicsacsi at a level disadvantage here. Predator's coming out. Broxah trying to buy a little time. Wants to disrupt as much as possible. Going thrown into the Gangplank. They want to get a little bit more damage down. Is he going to be able to nom on him? Doesn't quite have it. Now walking away. Vizicsacsi is still alive. Suppressed and pulled back. Amazing the bodyguard, he says not today.
Amazing is playing beautifully right now. Not only does he help Vizicsacsi get the kill, but we've got more action.
Now the bot side, the chain CC comes in once again. Hylissang dashing out, trying to make it to safety. Upset has to be careful here. The Blade of the Rune King is there. He has a little bit more sustain. They want to buy it. The stun is going to come through. Upset's going to get it. Rekkles for his life. One more stun. The flash forward. Rekkles tries to shield up, but now he's put himself in range of Upset. Upset backs off. A brief moment of pause.
Oh, the two mid laners were looking to go down bottom lane, but they both stop. Amazing is around Caps, however. Nukeduck not in range to ult him. Cannot set up another kill, but Schalke right back at it.
Upset is trying to solidify his name in the European LCS. 2 versus 2, they find themselves a kill, and Schalke looking to snowball their early lead.
So both junglers thinking, hey, we can go top here, no flash, we can kill someone. No feast from Vizicsacsi either, but they still managed to win the early trade. Then we go straight down to the bottom lane. Yes, you can't really kill the Shen early because he can block all these different autos. But that doesn't matter, because there's no threat from Rekkles. You can just keep chasing.
Exactly that. Kai'Sa in the early game doesn't have the damage to be able to trade back. Braum has the excellent setup, and when you combine that with the damage from Upset, everything comes together.
And that's actually the brilliant thing here for Schalke in terms of a pick and ban advantage. Fnatic took this Kai'Sa early to deny it from Schalke specifically. Schalke say, fine, we don't need the Kai'Sa. They grab a much stronger laner in the Varus, and then they win this bot lane.
And so many fans reached out and said, this is going to be a 3-0 Fnatic. And we tried to explain, you got to respect the prep from Schalke. These guys, throughout the playoffs, have shown that they are willing to come in ready with a strategy. And already in game one, they're showing the differences, the growth that they've made, and they're challenging the heavy favorites of Fnatic.
And not just the prep Vedius, but the AD carry as well. Upset going toe-to-toe with Rekkles, putting this early game advantage via champ select to good use. You can see these guys' numbers so close, but that damage per minute heavily in the favor of Upset. We've seen what a monster this guy can be if he gets a comfortable pick.
Right now, the Varus is looking good for him. Also one of the champions in the late game where you can deal a ton of damage. It's just hard to position properly. Luckily for him, with Vander next to him, he's gonna feel pretty comfortable. And Caps is not getting ahead. That's another key thing. He's just sitting there, he's just farming. Obviously, Nukeduck has not been involved either, but he's not needed to because they're winning bot and top.
Taunt does come in. Broxah is on the way, but the Predator has come out. Vander trying to make it out to safety. The Gangplank ultimate use. Hylissang takes a big chunk of life there. Not the cooldown that Fnatic wanted to give up for nothing. Vizicsacsi still with a TP available if they want to try to force something.
And look at all the deep vision that Schalke have towards the bot side of the map. They're looking to continue to play where they are stronger right now, but they may look for a dive onto Caps. Flash is available onto Nukeduck. Oh, Caps goes in!
Ward saving his life. Nukeduck gonna try to make it out to safety. He has the ultimate available if he wants to use it, but he needs to use it on himself. He goes in! Nukeduck doesn't do it! He doesn't have the reaction speed to press it.
And that's why this guy is the MVP of summer. Caps solo kills Nukeduck. Fnatic finally find an advantage.
Absolutely beautiful play, but now the fallout may be even worse for Schalke. Amazing trying to move into the backside. Caps could be in trouble. Most of the cooldowns have been burned, but it's Broxah all on his lonesome. Flash over the wall is going to be used in the end. They take down Hylissang. Schalke fire back.
We get the Rift help mid lane as well, getting some damage on the turret, and Bwipo is still sitting top lane. He actually will get the mid lane turret down. Fnatic took a lot of punches to the face, both top lane and bot lane, but in mid, we just said it, they were just farming, and Caps, he was waiting. Nukeduck had the tools to outplay this one.
Yes, he did.
But they were so quick and so much burst under the turret.
He had his ulti up. I'm surprised that he chose not to use it. Caps getting himself a solo kill. This is one of the big win conditions for Fnatic. They want this Akali to be strong in a side lane later on into the game. Let's look back at how this one is set up. Caps just goes in, gets a huge amount of burst, and Nukeduck, he just chooses not to use the ult.
But he's dancing around the shadows right there. And yeah, once he jumps Nukeduck and kills him instantly, that's it.
And gentlemen, that replay brought to you by Acer Predator, and a perfect fit after Caps goes so fearlessly to dive into Lissandra with ult up. But the rest of this play doesn't work out quite as expected.
Yeah, now you can't commit to a fight when all the Akali cooldowns are unavailable. You also don't have Rekkles there, so it's pretty much just support and jungler versus 4 members of Schalke. Fnatic, they overstep and they give more free kills over to the Schalke side.
Solo kills 14. That is the regular season because those are his summer split MVP stats. So understand any numbers he's stacking up here in the playoffs, just going to continue to grow that even further. And just an absolute monster. Schalke, you can give away kills somewhere, but you do not want to give them to Caps.
That is definitely the big win condition for Fnatic. Can the Akali disrupt the Schalke composition? Because you will jump into this fight, try and get to the AD carry, deal a bunch of damage, and then you will go invisible. You cannot get targeted, and you will just wait for your cooldowns, and then you try and kill.
18 minutes in, gentlemen, a slow siege in the mid lane. 2 dragons secured for Schalke and about a 2K gold lead as well. They are getting the early game that they want and set themselves up for success here early on, but Fnatic and Caps are starting to scale up, starting to get a few more items under their belt as the Gunblade, the Trinity Force, and the Storm Razor are all completed.
Exactly, and especially the 2-item spike on basically every carry on the side of Fnatic is fantastic. Storm Razor GP is insane once you actually get to that point later in the game. You know, Rage Blade is what we're looking at for Rekkles as well. Like, there's a lot of key items that can soon get completed. And then fighting, if you're Schalke, gets a lot harder.
And Caps now level 13. He's caught up in CS. He is very strong with the Gunblade completed, as we were talking about Deficio. And Schalke, they've kind of slowed down a little bit. They had a really proactive early game. They pushed bot very aggressively. They just took the mid-tier 1, but now it feels like they're giving a little bit more control of the map towards Fnatic. If we just look at the vision, you can see the top side is littered in favor of Fnatic. They've got a couple of wards sprinkled on the entrances to a lot of Schalke's jungle, and they didn't have any of this control before, and all of it comes off the back of Caps finding that solo kill.
Very, very true. I still want to see with Bwipo and his impact in the game. He's been targeted in the early game. He's going for Sterix as his second item with the pickaxe. Feeling like he needs to be a bit more defensive against the amount of burst on the side of Schalke. Will delay some of his damage, obviously, compared to the Storm Racer, but when you have an Akali next to you and soon to be 2-item Kai'Sa, I think it's okay. You don't need to be the main damage dealer all of a sudden.
While Bwipo may have struggled a little bit, Kleptomancy keeping him up in gold thus far, and additionally the Gangplank hold has been key in slowing down Schalke on a lot of these aggressive pushes into something like the tier 2 bottom lane tower. And for Schalke now, they're out of the laning phase. Nothing is quite as certain. Way less champions visible on the map at any given moment. They have to be just a little bit more scared of Caps when they don't have the vision set up.
And also because during the laning phase, it's a lot easier to set up these tower dives because you know where people are going to be. They're going to be in their lane. Now, when the turrets are gone, people are spreading around the map, it's a lot harder to 100% know how many members are actually sitting top side, bot side. And Schalke will have a harder time, as you highlighted right there, actually finding Caps. QSS also completed on his side. That's a key item we mentioned earlier that was necessary to stop Amazing's ulti.
Fnatic doing what they can to just maintain some vision around the Baron. I feel like it's a little early for either team to really be forcing it, but if anyone drops that vision control, the ability to rush it down is very scary. And of course, the Cho'gath feast on the side of Schalke gives you that extra insurance when setting up for their objective.
Yeah, and Schalke should just use it to bait the fight. Hover around it, out of vision, force Fnatic to step in and check what's going on, like here where they almost get Broxah, and then you secure your pick. But they need pushing this top lane as well. And Nukeduck, he's scared because he knows this level 14 Akali is scary.
Absolutely true. Deficio, and of course Schalke right now taking from the Fnatic playbook, hiding, waiting, looking for those picks, setting up a death rush, and hoping they can catch someone out. But Fnatic aren't falling for it yet. Schalke doing what they can to keep mid-prio.
Look at the state of the map right now. Cho'gath, he's just pushed up bot, starting to group up with his team. Lissandra also pushed up towards the top lane. Deficio, that force fight that you were just talking about, at the very least, they're hoping to get a TP out from Bwipo or maybe his ultimate.
Yeah, here we go. Starting it already. Look at Amazing hovering around Caps. QSS is available. Remember it, he's not going to be an easy target.
This might not be necessary. Amazing now pushing forward. The flash forward, the stun. They're just going to try to take down Hylissang. They're looking for a single pick, but Caps is immediately to the back line. Again. The has been laid down. That's 2 taken out. Schalke, clear road to the Baron. May just be enough to give them a greater advantage.
This whole composition was built around killing Caps, and that is exactly what Schalke just did. They had their eyes on the Baron. 22 minutes into the game, Schalke are looking good.
Broxah is hovering around. Flash is ready. Do not allow him to get into the pit. He doesn't have vision of the HP just yet. He's trying to get it.
Okay.
He's around.
Get it. Not going to get it. Cho'gath locks it down, but he flashes in. He gets taken out anyway. And now it's Bwipo who has to run for the hills. Nukeduck, though, giving Rekkles the respect he deserves. Not going to push any further, but gentlemen, Baron for Schalke here in game 1.
And Nukeduck still even has his ultimate available. When we get the replay up, keep your eyes on Vizicsacsi and Amazing. Amazing is going to put a lot of pressure down onto Hylissang. He's the one that kind of gets focused down, but then Caps, he has a prime target onto Upset. He jumps in. The silence immediately comes out from Vizicsacsi. There's nothing that Caps can do. It's too late for him to throw down the W, and then they have enough turnaround damage to just say, goodbye, Caps, you're out of the fight.
Yeah, every single champion on the side of Schalke can crowd control Caps. So when he goes in, he will instantly get CC'd down, like we just saw here. And that Baron play was great from Schalke. The bait around it, their control in lanes, Fnatic was split up, and Schalke just knew, no matter who shows up, kill this first guy, and we can win the fight and get the Baron.
And in this case, taking down Caps, taking down the MVP of the summer split. Have to be careful, though, because if you look back at that replay, Upset was on the verge of death. Despite everything being thrown into him, he was still only 20-30% health from a single combo from Caps.
It is going to be scary, but he's really the only one you are afraid of right now. I just want to talk about the confidence and the momentum, though, for Schalke. In a game 1 where everyone is saying they don't have a chance, they're going to lose. It's over already before the game even starts. And they show up play proactive on the big stage. Caps jumping in.
Here goes Caps. He has the Shen coming in now. If they take him out before the Shen can get there, Hylissang gonna look for the chain CC. The Tomb has come out, trying to dash through, but not gonna connect the taunt whatsoever. Upset is off to the side. Amazing is off to the side. Schalke may have found the flank. No one's gonna get hit by the knockup though. Caps is now running for his life. Schalke eyes on the tier 2 tower, but Fnatic aren't looking to give it up that easy. Bwipo here to clear the waves, here to stop the push in its tracks.
A lot of ultimates were used on the side of Schalke. I say that only Nukeduck's ultimate was used on the side of Schalke. Fnatic, on the other hand, have burnt through a lot. Nukeduck, he TP's back in top, applying pressure.
Trying to back off now. Broxah getting stunned up. Nukeduck needs to make it on safety, but Rekkles in the middle of everybody. He gets pulled back, but there's no follow-up damage. He could be first on the menu to go down. Bwipo taking down one. Fnatic, is this the turn that they need? A moment of pause here as they back off. Fnatic happy with a single kill.
Schalke showing again that they need to be careful. The moment you start splitting up, you start overextending a little bit, you want to be aggressive, you want to get down an inhib turret, you do give openings for Fnatic, and Fnatic are one of the best teams in Europe at reacting to these small openings, and then instantly they punish you in a strong skirmish.
So you can see, this is where the TP comes in from Nukeduck. He feels like with the pressure Schalke have topside, he can secure this tower, but Akali goes back to base, and then the Gangplank ultimate really limits his options of escape. Then a good ulti in from Rekkles initially looks poor, but as you said, Drakos, there's no follow-up from the rest of Schalke. The ultimate from Epset was even used onto Bwipo to prevent him from getting that flank in from the side. So really good executed fight here from Fnatic, and they're able to relieve some of this Baron pressure.
Crucial now as it will deny the last 30 or 40 seconds of this Baron. Schalke get maybe one more push. 5K gold advantage for the underdogs in this series. Fnatic may not have been expecting this aggressive early game coming in from Schalke.
They definitely did not. They thought it was going to be a slow game. A lot of scaling on both sides. That's what Fnatic drafted for. They accepted after they saw the pick and ban phase that they could fall behind. They've actually not tried to play over-aggressive. We have to give them that credit. But the problem is they just have so few tools to use to actually gain an advantage here. It's all in favor of Schalke. They have to push, they have to engage, and they just need to continue pushing this advantage. Flash is almost ready from Amazing. That means he's gonna flash forward, and he's gonna try and grab someone.
5 members bot side. Gargoyles don't play to immediately use. Vizicsacsi now running for his life, but he's getting slowly and steadily chipped down. The dash forward from Caps is looking potentially for the execute here. Wants to go in. Bwipo trying to start it up. That's going to be Vizicsacsi taken out. Schalke now at a man disadvantage, but Upset's ulti comes in anyway. Caps, no ultimate cooldown to get him into the back of the fight, but he wants to get a little bit more. Bwipo off to the side with the flank. One barrel could turn everything. Caps gets the shutdown. Schalke now trying to turn, firing into the middle of everybody. Upset remains untouched. And the double for Nukeduck.
Nukeduck turned that fight around with a huge jump in with the EW combo. Schalke, things were looking dire there. They split up again, Deficio. You talked about the risk of this because of the outplay potential from Fnatic. They tried to go for it. They can't pull it off. And now Schalke are sieging onto the tier 2.
All right, GP ulti to try and kill the wave. Caps needs to be careful. We'll just have to give up this turret here. But yeah, this game, it's tense all of a sudden. Despite the goal lead from Schalke, the fights are very even. Caps are looking for something else.
What's the call going to be here? Vander's going to be all on his lonesome. Has to be careful here. Secured the backs for his teammates, but he could now be in trouble. Minion's going to offer him a safe path out. Caps going to let him take it, but not too happy about it here. Gold lead stays about the same for Schalke, and Fnatic just continue to get scarier and scarier as items get finished.
So Vizicsacsi is just sitting in the bot lane here. There's not enough pressure on the rest of the map for Schalke to really be able to secure anything else. So they just try to collapse and go for a 4 versus 5. Now remember, Akali has no abilities or executes left available. So a lot of the damage is left unavailable. And keep your eyes on Rekkles in this fight. He gets a little too close to Amazing. And at this point you think, oh, he's okay, he gets knocked up, but then the damage comes in from Nukeduck, immediately dives onto the backline, and there's the burst combined with Upset to take out the carries, and Caps can't do anything.
Yeah, small opening in the map, so you all line up, and then there's a Braum ulti, and there's Lissandra coming in. Let's see what happens around mid lane. We're gonna get more fights here.
There's the Varus ulti, one piece of CC down. Caps is trying to play with the food baiting, hoping to catch a cooldown. Bwipo now too far on the front line. Caps once again leaping in and out. He's used both charges of the ultimate, however, that's gonna be a crucial cooldown. The knockup is there. Vizicsacsi looking for a little bit of disruption, holding onto the silence, is gonna use it onto Bwipo. Buying a bit of time is Amazing. Got to find his way into the backline. That's one kill. Take it down. Rekkles next with the QSS. Just barely buying him safety, but the knockup from Vizicsacsi will be enough. Upset on a rampage. Schalke cleaning house. house in game 1.
Schalke, with all 5 members, find themselves 3 quick kills onto Fnatic. The Nexus is in their eyes in game 1. Those death timers are still very long. Schalke could look to end the game right now.
This Fnatic draft simply cannot get to the carries of Schalke. They're just trying to run away, and they hope Caps can then kill someone, but he's not allowed to get close to Upset and Nukeduck, and Schalke slowly but surely will get the first kill, second kill, third kill, and they're going for more.
Caps trying to find his way to the backline. He's desperate to get something, but goodbye to Broxah. Just the victory lap now coming through as they buy time. Caps isn't even the center of attention here. Schalke, in game 1, they said, we don't care about your MVP. We're here to play.
The perfect start for Schalke. They give away the strongest mid lane champion to the best player in Europe. And they say, we have a strategy prepared. Cho'gath, Skarner, Lissandra, locked down to try and keep him under control. But they didn't even focus him, because they didn't have to. They won top side and they won bot side instead.
It was such a good draft from Schalke. Their preparation was perfect. And in game 1, they're able to shut down the individual playmaking potential that Fnatic has demonstrated throughout the summer split.
And a big focus going into this series would be the 2 AD carries facing each other. Right now, a lot of people look at Upset and say he's better than Rekkles. He can do more than Rekkles can in this series. And in the first game, he gets the Varus and he just destroys the bot lane.
Absolutely looked fantastic from Upset when the Kai'Sa got picked up with Rekkles. Not historically a Rekkles champion. We started to wonder, how good is he going to be at it? Upset not even phased, doesn't even need the Ezreal, pulls out the Varus and takes it home in the early game. The 2v2 kills in lane, I did not think we would see that. I did not think Rekkles and Hylissang would fall for it, but Vander and Upset just out-executed.
But we talked about it right at the beginning of the draft. Schalke, if they want to play proactively, it's all about getting amazing on these comfort picks, and we got to think about how influential he was in setting up the early game success. He found a kill up in the top lane. He found a kill down in the bot lane. He controlled so much of the vision control in the river. He was instrumental in getting this early game lead for Schalke.
Fnatic spent a ban on Rumble, a pick that Chachi has shown a few times, but not really been a big deal for Schalke, instead of things like a Skarner. I think we're going to get adaptations now. Fnatic will say, calm down, guys. It was game 1. Now we make changes. Schalke here to play fast, adapt in the pick and ban phase, get rid of Skarner.
We're going to see how game 2 works out, but for now, over to the analyst desk.
Thank you very much. Schalke 04 wins the first game, and Fnatic, the reigning champions, are trailing in their final. Well, the first thing I want to talk about with my analyst is that jungler of Schalke 04, amazing, who we talked so much about, who has come so far already, and in this first game, puts his team on his back on the Skarner. Fantastic.
Yeah, it was so good. He was so proactive looking for that early gank up in the top lane, for the tower dive, eventually really hits home in the bottom lane because it was so important to get Upset ahead, and it was amazing to enable his team.
How important is this great start of Amazing for Schalke and for the rest of the series?
It is so important, and I want to highlight the fact that he gets on the Skarner. We saw it in the semi-final. He was really one of the core issues for Vitality in that semi-final on Skarner, and I think a lot of it came down to the fact that they, in the draft phase, gave away Akali first pick, banned away the Olaf, which is the biggest counter to Skarner, and then you get a free Skarner pick, and then we see what happens.
For sure. I think in terms of the draft, I think when you know that the enemy is going to first pick Akali for sure, you can set up the Skarner, which is good to pull Akali out of the Shroud, and you can also ban the Olaf to make sure there's a good trade. They prepared the Lissandra for the Akali, and I felt like this entire draft was in preparation for this Akali first pick.
And I feel like this is one of the things we talked about as a strength of Schalke. We saw how flexible they were going from the Splice quarterfinal to the Vitality semifinal. It looks like they have even more in their playbook. This is great stuff just from the supporting staff.
Exactly. I think that the entire composition, you have like the Braum thrown in there as well. So many CC tools to try and not only deal with the Akali, but also force plays, because it was pretty clear that eventually picks like the Kai'Sa and the Akali will outscale in side lanes with the Shen to support it. So Schalke knew they had to force early and often in order to close out.
I just think it's so funny that we talk so much about that it's going to be a fight in the mid lane, constantly people roaming into mid lane to support the 2 stars of the teams. But honestly, it was just fight in top side, fight in bot side, and in the entire early game, Caps were not part of it at all.
I think the most important thing here is that they had Akali, which doesn't get prio early. It spikes at level 6 and then it wants to fight. And then on top of that, you have side lanes that are going to lose. You have the Kai'Sa, Shen into the Braum, Varus. You're going to get pushed, you're going to lose the matchup. Top lane, you have a Gangplank that wants to scale for late game. I feel like Fnatic fed too much into this narrative that Schalke plays too
And
slow.
so greedy, honestly. Like,
yes.
The GP went for Kleptomancy and Sorcery, not even any resolve against the Cho'gath.
Yes, that dive was so easy.
It was so easy to just dive him and just get top lane ahead. And I think, honestly, when you see that they have the Varus and the bot side control, then you need to be able to counter pick top so you have something to play for in the early game. And they just didn't do that.
I think I agree. The two takeaways for me are a bit overconfidence of Fnatic, or a lot of overconfidence, and being bought too much into the thought of Schalke's going to play slow, Schalke's going to go late. But it was Schalke who got the early advantage and Schalke who pushed it through. Let's take a look at the Baron, at the fight that in the end secured them Baron, because this could have gone another way, but Schalke has their eye on the prize.
Exactly. It's still very early on into the game, but they have the lead, and they know that if they can force and pick off that first member, the entire rest of the fight becomes so easy. And then you have Caps diving into the backline, but the CC threat from Schalke eliminates him immediately and makes the fight just easy for them.
And it shows that they understand their composition. They have Cho'gath, they have Varus. They wanna utilize the mid game to create picks with the Skarner and the Lissandra. And best way to do that, start Baron and force the enemy team to come there, and then you get the Baron and you can just start taking over the game.
Yeah, for sure. It's just so difficult for Fnatic to get ahead. They have to get ahead. And if they're behind, they have to itemize Quicksilver Sash. And Quicksilver Sash, when you're behind, this is just a cloth, you know. It's
fun.
It's no fun at all.
Man.
It's pretty terrible. Of course, Fnatic trailing, so they're gonna have to get their minds back in the game and look at what they want to do for game 2. I do want to take a look at the final replay and the final fight that sealed the deal for Schalke 04. And I want to give credit to Fnatic, and this is what they do, you know. They always still try. They go for it. But Schalke also played the team fights very well.
It is important to see, too, Caps used both of his ult charges to sort of go for this bait in and out to try and blow a cooldown. He doesn't get one, so then the turn becomes very easy, and he doesn't have that big stun and execute to try to turn around this fight. Not that it necessarily would have helped them, because Schalke as a 5-man unit were just way more powerful.
And because Kai'Sa was so far behind from the laning phase, he just couldn't kill the Cho'gath. The Cho'gath just runs at you and you can't do anything. It's so hard to play for them, honestly. Yeah.
Yamato, you said at the beginning, David versus Goliath. It's not going to be that today.
This was the slingshot. This was the slingshot I was talking about.
They only have one? Is that what you're saying?
Was this the only slingshot? Is this the only thing Schalke you think have in their pockets after what you've seen in the quarterfinals, in the semifinals, and now in the first game in the finals?
Of course, you cannot underestimate Schalke. I think preparation-wise, they are very smart. I think they have a good grasp with the current meta. I think that's for sure. It's not like they're going to make blunders in draft. I think Fnatic as a team, though, I think they can make adaptations. We saw it in the Misfits series. They came in with an idea. They kind of overforced it. I think Fnatic's going to adapt.
They adapted by taking out Bwipo. Soaz has been subbed in for the next game. This is also something we saw when after the first 2 games versus Misfits, it wasn't all going too good. What are we expecting from this? What changes are we going to see from Fnatic?
Well, the biggest thing is just a steady mind for Fnatic, because he's sitting backstage with the coaching staff, watching over, looking at some mistakes. They can come into the next game with a fresh perspective. I don't think champion pool changes all that much. Maybe we see an Ornn instead of something along the lines of the Gangplank, but it's really the mind of Soaz that you want.
We do know he loves his dog champ, so it's probably going to be a tank versus tank.
Is that what they need now? Is that what they need now?
I think it works, but then a lot of it is going to come down to the bottom side of the map. This game, there was more flexibility that you can play to the GP, you can play to the bottom side, but there was not really a clear plan in the early game, and I think that's what they're lacking. And maybe Soaz will bring that.
All right. We will see what happens. The underdogs, Schalke, are looking to pull off a huge upset and take down the reigning EU LCS champions. We'll be right back for Game 2. Don't go anywhere.
We're jumping into Game 1 of the EU LCS Finals. Caps versus Nukeduck, Rekkles versus Upset. The crowd is so excited.
Flash out from Rekkles. The chain CC is going to come through. He just needs to proc it, but it's blocked. Not going to get stunned. Still enough to get the kill. Oh, Cuts goes in. Ward saving his life. Nukeduck going to try to make it out to safety. He has the ultimate available if he wants to use it, but he needs to use it on himself. He goes in. Nukeduck doesn't do it. He doesn't have the reaction speed to press it. Find his way into the backline. That's one kill. Take it down. Rekkles next with the QSS. Just barely behind him. Safety, but the knockup from Vizicsacsi will be